As all of you remember, the beginning of 2017 was difficult. As has been pointed out, there were more than 40 shootings in just the first few months of the year. You may remember there was a cold-blooded triple homicide in January. There was a murder outside PS 22. Reports state that there was a parent who was on her way to pick up her child from after school. She waited with the young man as he died. And I think of the days when I have an opportunity to walk from Claremont and Rose to the Dunkin' Donuts or to the Hub, when I walk around my church's neighborhood or Reverend Richardson's church's neighborhood, the feeling and the lack of hope in Ward F is very real. So we knew we needed to understand and engage this hopelessness. We needed to address the root causes of violence if we were going to stand up and be authentic as an organization. So we began to ask questions, real questions. And you know the Bible says that there's wisdom in the counsel of many. So we talked to hundreds of young men, women on our streets, about what they saw in their community. We heard about the need for living wage jobs. We heard how many felt they couldn't get help because of the problems with their criminal records and problems with outstanding warrants that haunted every single thing they did. So we began to engage our county prosecutor, Esther Suarez, who's here. Give her a big hand. We began to engage her about what we were learning and what we were hearing and what was possible in Jersey City. And I have to say that the meetings were great, the meetings were productive, and the meetings were authentic. In Jersey City alone, thousands of Jersey City residents can't get a legitimate job. Thousands, they can't get help in the counseling that they need. Thousands of young African American men and people of color can't get driver's license. Thousands of Jersey City residents have outstanding warrants for minor offenses. These are traffic tickets, warrants for failing to appear in court. They're warrants for loitering and child support. And so I'd like to bring up Frank Gilmore, the founder of Fetty Foundation, a nonprofit that works with young people here in Jersey City. He's going to talk to us about the impact this has on people on a daily basis.
Good evening all. My name is Frank Educational Gilmore. I'm the founder of the Fetty Foundation. Our foundation is in the business of serving disadvantaged youth and their family. Tonight I want to share two stories about what Pastor Keaton just shared with regards to minor warrants. Back in 2008, I was attending Rutgers University as I had just came from doing a state prison bid. I was pulled over for speeding on the highway, and much to my surprise, the state trooper told me that I had a warrant that stemmed from the early 2000s. I was confused. How did I have a warrant seeing that I had just come from state prison? Nonetheless, I was arrested, sent back to state prison for 30 days. Although 30 days doesn't seem that long, to someone when time is moving slow, it's like eternity. It caused me to withdraw my first semester from college, it cost me academically, and it cost me financially, all of which I cannot get back. The second story I would like to share is one of my mentee's parents. We was in a conversation about how she should seek medical attention for her child, and I advised her to go to the county welfare building to seek some type of medical assistance. She advised me that she cannot go down there because she had a warrant and she heard that they checked for warrants. Her warrant stemmed from missing a court date with her younger son because her older son was murdered. As you can imagine, during a time of a crisis, No one is thinking about a court date. She's in preparation for planning for a funeral. I hear these stories every day in my neighborhood. Madam Prosecutor, we need action. It's not only that we rectify this situation, but it's important that we implement some type of plan so this situation never occurs again. Because this is the difference between committing a crime and preventing a crime.
We'd like to bring up Hudson County Prosecutor Esther Suarez. Prosecutor Suarez, first of all, I want to thank you for all the time that you spent with us in the last few months. I'm going to ask you to make public the work you are committed to doing with Jersey City Together. In East New York, 500 people were able to come out of the shadows by resolving their warrants on one day, working with our sister organization, East Brooklyn Congregations, and the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office. Are you committed to conducting a one-day session here in Jersey City to resolve low-level warrants on site in the spring of 2018?
Thank you. And Pastor Keaton, it has been my pleasure. This has been an organization that my office has been working with, and it's been going so smoothly. So you make it easy for us to work with you. And not only are we committed to doing it for one day, we're going to do it for 2 days. On a Saturday, and as you can imagine, it is a lot of work, so we need time to plan. The dates that we've agreed that work best for all of us are Friday, May 18th, Saturday, May 19th. Those are the days you can expect. As we get closer, we'll do more advertising, we'll give you more information, but those are the days we've set aside for now.
Prosecutor Suarez, are you committed to working with us and other public officials and nonprofits to connect those who arrive on those days with real services, housing, healthcare, jobs, and more?
So the idea is, right now there are a few people we need to acknowledge. This is not just the prosecutor's office. Pastor Keaton has been doing a fabulous job and so helpful in all the meetings. New Jersey Together, thank you for reaching out to us. This was exactly what we needed and what we wanted. But there are other people as well. The judiciary has been very helpful in just making sure that we can get this done through their municipal court, as well as Mayor Fulop for providing the municipal court and paying for the overtime, simple things as that. There is also just one more entity, and that is the County of Hudson, because they're providing the services of Frank Mazza, who is the Director of Reintegration, Community Reintegration. The hope is, and what we expect to do is, you come in, you tell us what warrants you've got. We try to resolve those warrants. It will not be 100%, we don't know. We're going to try to make it as close to that as we can. And when the warrants are resolved, there will be people there that can help you complete an application for a job, complete an application for housing if you need it.
Well, it looks like we've run out of time. I don't want to get that up. But I want to thank you. You stepped up. The office has stepped up. And this is going to be a huge opportunity. I believe it's going to make a residual difference in our community and the communities that currently are feeling hopelessness. So would you like to take a minute and a half and tell us more, or?
Just very quick, I know we ran out of time. That thing says 0 down there. But we want to be part of that change. We want to, when I first came in, and this was a couple years ago now, as the prosecutor, one of the bedrocks for me was being part of the community and making our office so much a part of the community. And the members of my office made it so easy because they were right there with me. And they understand how important it is to try to help the community, and that's the goal here, and that's what we're trying to achieve. So with that, thank you very much. Thank you.
During this portion of our action, we'll be asking Mayor Fulton and Mr. Matsakudis to make commitments to our organization and to our city. During this time, we ask everyone, you may remember, to respond to their comments respectfully. So Mayor Fulton, Mr. Matsakudis, would you come forward? In terms of responding respectfully, if you like something what the candidate says, please feel free to applaud or cheer. If you do not like something they say, and I hear that happens in politics, please keep a respectful silence. If you need to frown, do so quietly. We've asked them to respect us by being here, and we need to reciprocate the same respect. We want them to address the issues that are foremost on our agenda and uppermost in the minds of Jersey City residents. We're not going to ask them any trick questions or surprise questions. The candidates have had an opportunity to see the questions and consider their responses. Two of the questions require a simple yes or no. In the other two, we will ask them to succinctly respond with concrete details about how they will work with us to affect positive changes for our city, not to be negative about each other or to make a stump speech, but to be specific about our concerns. I'll ask the first two questions that address their commitment to work with Jersey City together, and a more general question about how they will move our priorities forward. Then Diane Maxon will briefly explain our current housing crisis and the potential for future affordable housing, and then we'll ask the candidates how they will address that specific issue. So the first easy one, and we'll start on my side, and it's a yes or no answer, so it should be quick. We shouldn't need the timer on this. If elected, are you committed to working constructively with Jersey City together to address our issue priorities?
Yes. We agree, Bill. Yes.
And if elected, will you attend our actions, meet with our leaders regularly, share data and reports, and make your department heads available to help us move our priorities forward?
Yes again.
Now we're going to give them a little bit more time in one word. We'd like each of you to take up to 4 minutes, and let's start with Mr. Matsakudis, to tell us what concrete steps your administration would take to move our city forward on the priorities we care about as an organization. 1, safety and policing. 2, youth and education. And 3, housing and homelessness.
Thank you very much, and good evening to everybody. Public safety is obligation number 1 of local government. And over the last several years, we've seen some distressing trends. Since 2012, every single year we've seen substantially higher homicide rates. Indeed, 2016 marked a 100% increase. That's right, the homicide rate doubled in 2016 as compared to 2012. Simultaneously, relations between the police and the community have really gone down. We can do a better job, and in order to do that, we need to fundamentally change the way we do policing in Jersey City. We need to adopt community policing, which includes, but is not limited, to getting police out of their squad cars and out of the precincts, into the streets, back on the beat, to positively interact with the public that they serve. But it also means a lot more than that. It means changing through training the philosophy of the police department. We can't have a warrior mindset. We need to have a guardian mindset. We're not going to achieve public safety through arrests. Multiple arrests and counting arrests is not the way to achieve public safety. We need to identify problem situations and seek to address them before they boil over. We need to have points of contact, like reverends and ministers that we have here tonight. Business leaders, educators, to have a robust dialogue between the police and the community. But law enforcement's not going to solve all of our issues, and that's why I'm glad you're bringing up recreation. You know, I was a big brother at the Boys and Girls Club downtown, and if you look at that facility, you have to ask yourself, why can't we replicate that in other parts of our city? We can do a better job. I will absolutely get built within my first term state-of-the-art recreational facilities in the southern part of the city where there's absolutely a dearth and a lack of opportunities like that, in Bergen, Lafayette, and in Greenville. I think those are much heard discussed. Education is primarily prerogative of our Board of Education. I see our superintendent here tonight, but I will work closely with the Board of Education. I will have a liaison in the mayor's office, and I'm proud that on my council slate, I have two career educators running. Chris Gatson, who's currently the vice principal of Lincoln High School and the first African American to represent the west side of Jersey City, and Dr. Michael Wins, who was a 25-year teacher, a principal, and now an official in the Board of Education. I'm glad that with Chris Gatson, we worked on legislation to mandate that revenue from tax abatements be shared with schools. And that has been something that we've not done for too long. You know, the cornerstone of my campaign really is about affordable housing. And I'm glad that we're stressing that here tonight. In the last several years, Jersey City's become one of the most expensive places to live in America. Going door to door, I'm hearing about people that are getting pushed out of Jersey City who've had to move from downtown to the Heights or from McGinley Square to Greenville, and the next step is out of Jersey City. We have a plan to make Jersey City affordable. First and foremost, we're going to create an Office of Affordable Housing to check in. I know the next question is going to be on this. To mandate that all affordable housing is actually affordable, that rents are affordable, that the deed restrictions that are in place are actually complied with. We're going to connect people to affordable housing with the Office of Affordable Housing. Right now, there's no door to knock on, there's no phone number to call. If you need help of finding affordable housing, well, it's up to you to figure it out. We're going to change that too. Developers create more affordable housing both on-site and through contributing money to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund to work with affordable housing developers to build more affordable housing. In the first year, I'm going to mandate that all redevelopment plans have an inclusionary and off-site affordable housing mandate. And last but not least, rent control. Rent control is change. It only applies to 5 units and above. And if you live in Greenville or you live in the Heights, you know that most of the housing is in buildings that are smaller than that. Over half of the people in this city live in buildings that have less than 5 units. We need to extend rate stabilization beyond its current limitation, and will include thousands of people who are now getting priced out of some new warnings.
Let's repeat the question, which is, we'd like to give you up to 4 minutes to tell us what concrete steps your administration would take to move our city forward on the priorities we care about as an organization. 1, safety and policing. 2, youth and education. And 3, housing and homelessness. And we'd like you to pay special attention to the issue of housing. Thank you.
Let me start by saying thank you to Jersey City Together for organizing this. It's been a pleasure to work with you for the last 2.5 years, and I feel like we've gotten a lot accomplished, and I just want to start by saying thank you to the work that you do. The 4 minutes that I have here, I'm going to try and cover a couple things. I'm going to try and tell you, based on these issues, why I'm running for a second term as mayor. I'm going to tell you why this election is unique based on those specific issues. I'm going to tell you what we've done, and I'm going to tell you what we hope to do in the next 4 years. I'm going to cover that. I'm going to do my best in 4 minutes. Let me start by saying that when I ran in 4 years ago in 2013 in a similar room like this, I made a commitment and I said, Jersey City doesn't have term limits, but I had no interest in being a 4 or 5 term mayor. I said that we have a lot of issues that are neglected, the ones that were mentioned here today, and I would work to bridge that gap. But I said that I made a commitment that I would only do 2 terms, that if I can't do it in 8 years and make progress on those specific issues, I would step aside. I'm running for re-election because I know we've made progress, which I'll talk about, but I also know that the job is halfway done. Now let me tell you on those specific issues why this election is important and unique. It's because I have a track record, as does Bill have a track record. And so you could always look at what we've done and look whether that's valid or not valid. I've been the mayor for 4 years. He was a corporate counsel chief advisor for the previous 10 years. I would urge you always with the things that I say or anybody on our council or anybody running, ask the fundamental question that if you are saying this because we know how politics go, why didn't you do that in the 4 years you were mayor, or why didn't you do that in the 10 years prior? So here we are today, and let me tell you where we came from. When I took office, the police department was at 769 officers, the lowest it has been in decades. The diversity in the police department was ranked the single worst in the entire United States of America. The CCTV cameras throughout the city did not work. The 911, 911 system did not work. What have we done? Instead of goal to be 900 officers, we're at 930 now. And out of the 300 officers I've hired, every single one of them starts in the South and West in the Walking District, and 70% of them are minorities. We've been recognized as a model for police. We started to repair with Jersey City together the CCTV camera system. We repaired the 911 system. And while everybody can point to statistics and cherry pick, and I can say, which is true, the FBI released their statistics for Jersey City last week, and trends continue to go down, I will tell you it's not enough. I would tell you that that's the reason we started a prisoner reentry program, because we believe that everybody deserves a second chance. Housing. Before we took office, there was no affordable housing plan. You could never point to anything in this entire city. I am proud to tell you that in 4 years, we built more than the previous administration in 10 years, but it is a drop in the bucket. We have done veteran housing, senior housing, moderate housing, low-income housing. We worked on the rent control ordinances with Jersey City together as well, because we are correcting things that should have been corrected a long time ago. On homelessness, let's talk about that for a second, because it is an epidemic in this country. We've invested more resources in partnering with Garden State Episcopal than any administration in the history of the city. We are hopeful next year and working with the Archdiocese and a private developer to build a new shelter across the street of St. Lucy's. And we're the first in the country to take the Obama pledge to end veteran homelessness. I'm here to tell you that I'm running for another term because we still have more work to do. On education, we have put 1,000 summer kids in paid jobs working with the Board of Education. Graduation and after school. But at the end of the day, what I'm going to tell you is the job's not done. And I'm committed to finishing what I started and saying that that 8-year commitment to get the city what has been neglected for a long time is still my primary objective. So thank you for having me.
There's one more question we're going to ask of both these gentlemen, and it requires a little background information. We've all mentioned that Jersey City is in a housing crisis. 30% of the city's residents are in housing stress. There have been an average of 5,000 eviction proceedings every year for the last 4 years. The solution, which both of these gentlemen brought up, is rent control. Jersey City has one of the strongest, most tenant-favorable rent control laws in the country. The problem we face is they're not enforced. These are some of the parts of the rent law that you may not be aware of. There is much more in your packet. And just to emphasize some of them and maybe give you a couple more ideas of what's involved, there are formulas to figure the allowable amount of any rent increase. And there are formulas to figure the amount of a rent increase even if the apartment is vacant, gutted, and renovated. They can't just be brought up to market rent. And You can see up there that the landlord's required to post the rent rolls. Our team looked at 170 buildings in Jersey City, all over the city, and not one of them had the rent rolls posted. And landlords are not allowed to harass tenants for making complaints. If they continue to harass you, and harassment includes being called over and over into court for late rents or evictions, which we've heard happens a lot, they can be fined, significant fines, or even sent to jail. At this point in the life of Jersey City and in our life, the lack of enforcement is unacceptable. Violations landlords incur can cost them up to $2,000 per incident. These kind of revenues are way more than the $54 parking tickets that all of us get every week. So, our question to both of you, and you each have 1 minute to reply. You ready? Okay. Will you make it a priority to publicize and enforce Jersey City housing and rent control codes as vigorously as you enforce criminal, traffic, and parking codes?
Yes, that is a commitment, yes?
Yes, and you have 1 minute to...
Oh, I have 1 minute, okay. Let me start by saying that this is a single largest priority for us. When I said that we have a job that is not done yet, we have done a lot of affordable housing, but we have a lot more to do. I have met numerous times with the leadership in Jersey City together regarding restructuring our tenant-landlord office, regarding strengthening the laws and actually enforcing, as they touched on regarding trendy management. But again, it's just a drop in the bucket. When you look forward on what we intend to do over the next couple of years, it's continuing the trajectory of not only building more affordable housing, as I touched on earlier, which I think our track record looks for itself, but first and foremost, we did the first audit there ever was of all of our affordable housing, so you can see it on the city website. And we intend on doing more of that and continuing down the road of enforcing our laws, number one. Number two is funding nonprofits that can advocate for renters so that they know the laws, and being stricter on enforcement, as we touched on here, as it relates to landlord. There's no single bigger issue for us facing Jersey City, and we have a wholehearted commitment that this will be the number one priority over the next 4 years.
I said the cornerstone of my campaign is affordable housing, and a central part of that is to create an Office of Affordable Housing to do specifically this. First and foremost, I can tell you that the inventory online is not adequate. It is completely lacking, and we discussed it in detail on my website if you look at our affordable housing website. Certainly, the city has no idea right now how many rent-controlled units there even exist or where they are in the city. So, I don't know what the audit was, but we really need to take a true audit, find out where all these buildings are, and make sure that the laws are being complied with. First, that affordable rent, that the 4%, which is actually less than that, it's supposed to be the consumer price index, is followed. Secondly, that the premises are in habitable condition. I was in landlord-tenant court the other day fighting for tenants' rights. I'd have a lot more power to do it as the mayor if I'm given that opportunity. And last but not least on this issue is if we have an Office of Affordable Housing, we'll have the staff, the resources to work in conjunction with city lawyers and municipal prosecutors to find these landlords. That's the only thing that's going to make